Have you ever wondered what happens when an airplane loses all its engine power in mid-flight? It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Now, imagine being on Air Transat Flight 236, a regular transatlantic flight from Toronto to Lisbon. On board were 306 individuals, each with their own stories, their own destinations. At the helm of this giant metal bird were Captain Robert Peach and First Officer Dirk de Jager, experienced pilots both, tasked with the safe passage of these souls across the vast Atlantic. As the engines roared to life and the plane lifted off, everything seemed as normal as any other flight. The passengers settled into their seats, the flight attendants began their rounds, and the pilots focused on the journey ahead, unaware of the unprecedented challenge that awaited them. The aircraft cut through the sky, leaving the Canadian skyline behind, making its way towards the European continent. On the surface, everything was routine. The hum of the engines, the quiet chatter of passengers, the occasional ding of the seatbelt sign. But little did the passengers know this was going to be a flight they would never forget. Imagine cruising at 39,000 feet when suddenly you're out of fuel. Now, this is no ordinary flight we're talking about. This is the tale of Air Transat Flight 236, a transatlantic journey from Toronto to Lisbon that took a turn for the dramatic. The flight, carrying 306 souls on board, was cruising smoothly until an unexpected hitch occurred: a fuel leak. But how does a jumbo jet just start leaking fuel mid-flight? Well, it all boils down to improper maintenance. A routine task, yet a vital one, had been mishandled. An incorrect part, not suited for this particular aircraft, had been fitted during routine maintenance. This seemingly small oversight led to a fuel leak that would soon escalate into a full-blown crisis. As the fuel started to deplete at an alarming rate, the aircraft's engines began to fail, one by one. The pilots, Captain Robert Peach and First Officer Dirk de Jager, were suddenly faced with a dire situation. Their training and years of experience were about to be put to the ultimate test. With a profound understanding of the gravity of the situation, they tried to rectify the issue. Their attempts, however, were in vain. The fuel leak was beyond their control, and the engines, starved of the fuel they needed to keep the aircraft aloft, started to fail. With each passing minute, the situation grew more perilous. The pilots battled against time, trying to find a solution, a way to save the aircraft and the lives of those on board. The tension in the cockpit rose as the fuel gauge dropped lower and lower. And then the unthinkable happened: complete engine failure. Without any engine power, the plane was, in essence, a glider. An ordinary flight turned into an extraordinary feat of aeronautics and human resilience. Air Transat Flight 236, now bereft of engine power, was soaring through the sky, its pilots faced with the daunting task of gliding the airliner nearly 75 miles to safety. Captain Robert Peach and First Officer Dirk de Jager were at the helm, their years of expertise suddenly put to an unprecedented test. The challenge was twofold. Firstly, they had to maintain the optimal glide ratio, a delicate balance between speed and altitude. Too fast, and the plane could become uncontrollable. Too slow, and they risked stalling. They had to maintain just the right speed to keep the plane airborne and on course. Secondly, they had to navigate towards a safe landing site, all the while dealing with the loss of powered control systems. Their target? The Azores, a cluster of islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. For this, they relied on their training, their experience, and the aircraft's remaining battery-powered instruments. But it wasn't just about flying the plane. They were responsible for the lives of all 306 passengers on board. So, while dealing with the technical aspects of gliding a commercial airliner, they also had to manage the cabin, keeping everyone calm and prepared for an emergency landing. This was a situation that demanded more than just technical skills. It required quick thinking, nerves of steel, and the ability to make critical decisions under pressure. And Captain Peach and First Officer de Jager rose to the occasion. They expertly maneuvered the powerless plane, maintaining the perfect glide ratio, navigating their way across the open ocean. With skill and determination, they set their sights on the Azores for an emergency landing. They proved that even in the face of extreme adversity, human ingenuity, skill, and bravery can achieve the seemingly impossible. An emergency landing without engine power is not an easy task, a statement that holds true for the drama that unfolded on board Air Transat Flight 236. As Captain Robert Piche and First Officer Dirk de Jager faced the daunting reality of their predicament, they knew their only option was to attempt an emergency landing in the Azores. The minutes leading up to the landing were critical. The crew was well aware that a single mistake could spell disaster. With no engines, the aircraft was essentially a glider, albeit a very large and heavy one. The pilots had to rely on their skills, their training, and a bit of luck to guide the plane safely to the ground. As the Azores loomed closer, the tension on board was palpable. The pilots had to make split-second decisions, balancing speed and altitude to maintain control of the aircraft. It was a feat of airmanship that would test even the most seasoned pilots. The landing was not without its challenges. The aircraft sustained structural damage, a testament to the forces at play during the unpowered descent. Yet despite the damage, the plane held together, a testament to its robust design and the skill of the pilots. In the aftermath, there were minor injuries among the passengers and crew. A few bruises, a few sprains, but no fatalities. A remarkable outcome given the circumstances. The crew had done their job, and they had done it well. The passengers, who had been bracing for the worst, found themselves on solid ground once more. The relief was overwhelming. Their ordeal was over. They were safe. They were alive. Against all odds, Flight 236 had landed safely, and all 306 people on board were alive. The crew's skill and courage had turned what could have been a catastrophe into a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the marvel of modern aviation. The incident of Flight 236 was a wake-up call for the aviation industry. Following the near disaster, a thorough investigation revealed a fuel leak caused by crew mishandling and an incorrectly fitted part during maintenance. Accepting responsibility for the incident, Air Transat was handed a hefty fine of 250,000 Canadian dollars. But amidst the turmoil and financial repercussions, the pilots, Captain Robert Piche and First Officer Dirk de Jager, emerged as heroes. Their skill and quick thinking saved the lives of all 306 people on board, successfully gliding the aircraft to an emergency landing in the Azores. Their actions were not just a display of their professional prowess, but also a testament to human resilience and courage. In the aftermath of the incident, the aviation industry took stringent steps to prevent a recurrence. New procedures were implemented, emphasizing the importance of proper maintenance and the readiness to handle any such unforeseen situations.